I'm getting phone numbers from people. I'm just going to address my audience really quick. Hold on. Hey, what's up, guys? Got us a couple texts today, making sure we're okay, we're good. We have been educating ourselves. We have been highlighting and building our knowledge base even thicker and more strong than it was before. Stay tuned. We're going to go back to the wait screen. Give us about 5 minutes. All right, so here in 2 seconds, I'm going to go ahead and pop her online. 1, 2. Bam. What's up? All right, so a lot of questions on whether or not we're okay, what we did today. Again, we have just been strengthening our knowledge base because knowledge is power. The WHO is voting right now on a lot of different tyrannical, treasonous things that Biden is willing to allow the WHO to take control of our medical responses. Now, I'm just going to say real quick, the amendments would give the WHO or the World Health Organization the right to deal with any nation's alleged health crisis, even against its stated wishes. Okay, to obey or acquiesce to them. Acquiesce, right? Accept something reluctantly, but without protest. Now, that's what they've been trying to do with Canada, right? Shut down their protesting ability. This is a legal binding contract. This is what's the wording in this thing? It's a binding instrument of international law. Okay? Forcing you to either accept or acquiesce. You know, accept reluctantly, but without protest. We're going to go to a screen share. All right, so the article we are going to be reviewing right here is what we reviewed almost all day today. Let me pull this over. It's probably got. So we're going to go ahead and just show you the article real quick, and I want to pull up my notes. All right, so these regulations are a binding instrument of the international law entered into force on 15 June 2007. 3 UN member states can be required by law to obey or acquiesce to them. Now, to obey or acquiesce to them with no press release and no public awareness, officials from the Biden administration sent the World Health Organization these extensive amendments to strengthen the WHO's ability to unilaterally intervene into the affairs of nations merely suspected of having a health emergency or of possible concern to other nations. Possible. Suspecting of a possible. It's so vague. The amendments would give the World Health Organization the right to deal with any nation's alleged health crisis, even against its stated wishes, to obey or acquiesce to them, acquiescence to accept something reluctantly, but without protest. Why don't they want us protesting? Why would they make that a binding instrument of international law? The power to declare health emergencies is a tool to shame, intimidate, and dominate nations. Okay? Look this up for yourself. All right? This article, I have fact-checked everything on here, and we've even gone to numerous different websites. One of them, I think I should pull that up real quick if I can find it. Did I send that to myself? I don't think I did. We'll go to the WHO website at the end of this. How about that? The amendments would give the World Health Organization the right to deal with yes. The power to declare health emergencies is a tool to shame, intimidate, and dominate nations. We've seen it. All the cancel culture, and that's the reason why people are scared to speak out and stand up. We've had a small amount of churches stand up, right? But they got shut down, they got shamed, they got fined, they got their financial tax exemptions, on the chopping block. Not enough people stood up next to them to say, hey, no, stop it. All right, we needed to all come together in those moments, okay? And use that as an example of what has happened when we don't stand up. I don't care about, look, hold on a second. I don't care about any type of conflict or any of that. These issues with the World Health Organization, they're literally signing over 99.44% of our nation's sovereignty. Okay, or the world's sovereignty. Thank you, Simon. The United Nations is 99.44% of the world. Okay, so look it up for yourself. I read that and I was like, oh, that seems like a way too high of a number. That can't be right. Look it up for yourself. This is extremely important. I'm working on some things. But first, let's go back to my notes. The World Health Organization's most significant use of this arbitrary authority to declare national emergencies will be used against the United States if our government ever again dares to take an anti-globalist stand as it did under Trump's administration. To those of you that don't know, Trump was about to he filed for a formal withdrawal of the World Health Organization in, was it June or July of 2020? If the official one got submitted, like 21 or something like that. I don't know what happened with that. I haven't had time to research into that, but I do know that Trump formally filed to withdraw from the World Health Organization.
Yeah, Early July 2020, Trump notified Congress and the United Nations that it was formally withdrawing from the WHO. Bill Gates quickly announced that he was increasing his contribution from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation to $250 million.
Yes. And according to that article also, the Chinese Communist Party is the leading contributor to the World Health Organization, with Bill and Melinda Gates in runner-up with 700 and some, I think it was either million or $1 billion.
I have it right here. So the top 5 contributors to the WHO: Germany, this is the fiscal year, I believe, 2020 to 2021. Germany contributed $1.2 billion. The Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation was $751 million. The United States was almost $700 million. United Kingdom and North Ireland was $487 million. And the European community was $466 million.
Okay, so have we fact-checked the reason why this article is saying the Chinese Communist Party right here
is number 2?
I thought it was number 1. Look, hold on.
I think that's number 2.
According to this one.
But yeah, let me see if I can find that out about China.
I'm gonna get the right here. Oh, it's talking about influence. Okay, so this one's talking about influence, not money. But what type of influence?
No, in 2020.
No, right here.
It says the U.S. contributed 115.8, followed by China at approximately half that amount.
Oh, okay. So
I have the statement of the Chinese account in 20. This is not in U.S. dollars. $28 million is what China
physically put, or
contributed
monetarily put in
as of January of 2022. But I don't know the range of this exactly. No, it says 20. According to this statement, in 2020, China contributed 28.7 million. In 2021, it was 28.7 million. In 2022, it was 28.7 million. But this is there. If I remember right, according to the WHO website, this was the like the chart, like what they the WHO actually invoices nations. They send the nations. You have to contribute a certain amount to be a member of WHO.
Right,
And
but
then some member nations give additional contributions.
Real quick to clarify what I was talking about earlier, they were talking about influence, not monetary stuff, and the reason why they mentioned that is because of in particular, it made certain the Chinese communists could hide the seriousness of the pandemic while spreading it to the world on passenger airplanes from its major cities, including Wuhan itself. We've already noted and documented that the Chinese Communist Party and Xi Jinping have enormous influence over the WHO, and then it reads on to talk about after the Communist Chinese Party, Bill Gates probably has the most influence over the WHO. So sorry, I misspoke. And Simon is going to share those invoices with you in a minute. Thank you, Simon. Moving on right here. They're literally voting on this stuff like as well, not as we speak, but literally this week. Like today's the 24th, and they started it 2 days ago. Friday is the deadline. Okay, how much time do we have to stop these amendments from relinquishing our sovereignty to this country? Just a few days. Okay, so again, Trump tried to pull out of the WHO. All right. At least he tried to do that. He must have seen something that was going wrong there. And also, as far as how much time do we have to stop the amendments? Look, you know how hard it would be to get them to reverse their yes into a no? And not only that, but one of the amendments that is being proposed is they used to have 18 months to pull out or change their position on a proposed agenda. And one of the proposed amendments is only allowing 6 months. So Simon,
yeah, let's.
Do you think there's going to be another president in 6 months from now?
Yeah, do the math, folks. 6 months from today is November. Is literally. You got your video on?
The camera is on.
It is. So 6 months from today, amazingly, is November. Well, guess what, folks? It doesn't matter what happens at the election in November. It doesn't matter.
Elections are like if the WHO...
The new people would not take office till January. So if this stuff passes, it's going to be international law before anybody else ever takes office.
And again,
so the timing is impeccable, and it's going to be literally almost impossible to stop this if this doesn't get stopped this week at the committee. It would literally take an international response, a huge international response to get the countries that voted for this to withdraw their votes in the next 6 months.
Yes, we have to act now to prevent these amendments from going into effect. Look, Tedros was unopposed in his re-election into the 5-year term as the Director General of the World Health Organization. They did not allow. Saying they did not allow it to happen is maybe a stretch. But there was no opposition. Why was there no opposition? It's a little interesting, right? So Tedros need only consider that a potential or actual risk is occurring to allow action to be taken by the World Health Organization or any future Director General. Okay, so all he has to do is, based on his own personal beliefs, is raise the concern and start acting on it. All right. Now this goes down. This is about mental health. It's about actual food products. Right. There's salmonella. There's obesity. They consider racism mental health. Now there's lots of different aspects, and there is. It's almost, if you think about it, you can apply health to almost every aspect of your life, whether it be physical, mental, economic health. Okay, and if you add in, that's literally in there. Okay, now if you add in the World Economic Forum, the list gets longer and longer and longer of the amount of things that are about to happen. This is treason. This is treason. Okay, let's go back to my notes. I want to finish my notes, and then we can.
I have a ton of notes.
Yeah, I know we're kind of referencing a lot of the same articles here, but. It's okay. Knowledge is power. We must act now to prevent the passage of the amendments. We really do. Without organized resistance, this is one of the ones I changed. Without organized resistance, one world government will dominate. The size and power of the group guarantee that the amendments will be passed if unopposed by significant outside pressure. We are that outside pressure right now. There is lots of other outside pressure, but you and I and Simon and the rest of the team, right? That's including all Americans. We are outside pressure. Okay, we cannot relinquish our sovereignty to a foreign power. Okay, it's just unfathomable that this is happening right now, and nobody is talking about it. Cade brought up a good question today. He said, Simon, Alex, why has this not been vested? Why has this not been enumerated in the Constitution? And it led us to what, Simon?
I'm trying to remember.
The state of emergency.
Right.
The state of emergency that we're in. Okay? Why are none of these senators and congressmen and women talking about this? It's currently going on. Why is no media outlets talking about this? It's currently going on. Why has it not been vested or enumerated into the Constitution? Well, the state of emergency.
Yep.
Let's move on. At least, this article's a little bit old. A little bit. So there's at least 47, according to this article, there's at least 47 nations supporting the U.S. authored amendments. All of them have endorsed empowering the World Health Organization to declare a possible or potential health emergency or crisis within any nation despite its objections and refusal to cooperate. To repeat, this is a hostile takeover and a one world government that will pass unless American citizens as well as citizens worldwide mount a very strong opposition. I'm telling you folks, strap in your seatbelts. Okay, we're talking about a 6-month period of time where it would be extremely hard to sway somebody from a yes to a no vote. Okay, think about it. When, like salesmen, I'll tell you this. Like in like a psychology type of aspect, once somebody has confirmed something out loud or it's publicly on a record, right? It's much harder for them to sway off of that topic, right? So like something that salesmen do, right, is they'll ask you a question, but they won't give you time to answer, all right, because they don't want you to answer out loud, right, because then you'll be confirming and solidifying your opinion when you say things out loud like that. So, I'm prepping for the D-Day, y'all. Like, this is literally, there's been so many distractions. There's been so many coincidences and convenience of disruption and confrontation. And a lot of, there's people putting rumors on me, but it ain't about me. All right, this is an American journey here. Okay, if it was up to me, and right now my life is up to me, I spoke about maybe possibly starting my own organization. I'm not going to do that at this moment because you know why? We are Americans. It was wrote in my car for the longest time. And when we go down there and they can't pin an organization or anything like that on anybody, we're just going down there as concerned Americans. Okay? Concerned Americans. Think about that. There's no head they can cut off. They can't single anybody out, right? Like they can't put blame on a certain organization or taint or stain the reputation of organizers, right? We are Americans going down there as concerned citizens of this great land of the free. You have something to say,
Yep,
Simon?
I do. I've got a lot to cover. So whenever you're done, I'm going to give an update on what happened today.
I haven't printed off my notes yet, so I'm going to go ahead and pull you up full screen, boss. Oh, shoot.
Okay.
Oh, we weren't even on the screen share. All right. So, y'all, I'm going to give Simon the mic and headphones for about, 5-10 minutes?
Yeah, I've got a lot of information to cover.
Right.
So
he's gonna take the reins. We have been fact checking this and bouncing this back and forth from each other all day. That's why we haven't been live. We've literally been at this all day. We wanted to go to DC today, but we're gonna come in hot and strong and sharp tomorrow. All right.
All right, so I did a bunch of research on the forum on the World Health Assembly live stream today and on their website, and just an overview update of what happened today in Geneva, Switzerland. It's the 75th World Health Assembly. It's a daily update that I printed off from their website, and the big things that happened today is they passed a new sustainable financing model. And I'm just going to read it. It's a lot of information, but it's all important information that has to be shared. Following the re-election of Dr. Tedros, he was re-elected today. That was another big agenda item. He was running uncontested, so he was the only candidate. So it was obvious that we knew that he was going to get in and reelected to another 5-year term, but that did happen today. Following his reelection, delegates of the World Health Assembly agreed a landmark decision on sustainable financing for the WHO, adopting a series of recommendations from a sustainable financing working group made up of WHO member states. The recommendations aim to make WHO's funding more predictable and flexible and less dependent on voluntary contributions. Amongst the recommendations is a request to the Secretary to develop budget proposals for an increase in assessed contributions, or membership dues, to 50% of WHO's core budget by 2030. So currently they have assessed contributions and just voluntary contributions. So they're wanting to increase the assessments, basically. In the last budget cycle, assessed contributions made up only 16% of the approved program budget. Other recommendations include that the Secretary explores the feasibility of a replenishment mechanism to further broaden WHO's financing base and the establishment of a member state task group on strengthening WHO's budgetary, programmatic, and finance governance to analyze challenges in governance for transparency, efficiency, accountability, and compliance. They also have a program budget revision was approved today. Delegates had previously approved a revised program budget for WHO for the work of the biennium 2022 to 2023. The revision approved today reflects the rapidly changing health situation of the world due to the COVID-19 pandemic, amongst other issues. The revised program budget incorporates learnings and recommendations from a number of internal and external reviews, notably that the Secretary response to COVID-19. The total estimated budget increase for the biennium 2022 to 2023 is in US dollars $604.4 million, a 13% increase over the earlier budget presented, bringing the total budget for WHO's work for 2022 to 2023 to 4.968 billion US dollars. The previously approved 2022-2021 program budget amounted to 3.769 billion US dollars. Delegates also agreed to extend the current global program of work to 2025, in light of the findings contained in WHO's results framework, as well as the report presented by the Secretary on operational efficiencies. The extension is designed to help WHO support countries' efforts to address disruptions to health services linked to the pandemic, recover from the pandemic, and renew efforts to achieve and triple billion and sustainable developmental goal targets. This extension brings alignment between WHO's strategic planning cycle and that of the wider United Nations family. Let's see, delegates also welcomed the final report of the working group on strengthening WHO preparedness and response to health emergencies, which, among other things, proposed a process for taking forward potential amendments to the IHR. They agreed to continue the group with a revised mandate and name the working group on IHR amendments to work exclusively on consideration of proposed IHR amendments. Member states also requested the Director General to convene an IHR review committee to make technical recommendations to the proposed amendments that may be submitted. The working group will propose a package of targeted amendments for consideration by the 77th Health Assembly. That's 2 years out. This year, they're at the 75th Health Assembly. So next year will be 76th, and then the next year the 77th. Today, they, I'm not going to read there's another article just talking about their historic decision to sustainably finance the WHO. I'm going to set that one aside for now. I think we covered that one pretty good. So the other big thing that they passed today in the committee was a document titled A75/17, and it is strengthening the WHO preparedness for and response to health emergencies. So this is a thick pack of papers. It's 59 pages long. I'm going to just skim. Well, I had we went through it today. I'm just going to give you a couple things. I'll flip through it and give you a little bit of information about it. The member states explored the idea of defining the equity concept to be broader and actionable based on WHO's constitution, as well as going beyond the COVID-19 pandemic. Equity is not limited to equitable and timeless access to and distribution of medical countermeasures, but should also include, inter alia, universal health coverage and national health systems, strengthening, financing, diversification, and localization of research, development, and production facilities, social determinants of health, and public health needs based on and predictable technical assistance upon request, as well as transfer of knowledge while supporting innovation and capacity building for health emergency prevention, preparedness, and response. I don't know if you caught in this paragraph, part of this is universal health coverage and national health systems strengthening. So the scope of this is much, much broader and goes much deeper than emergency response. Part of this on page 9 of this document is political leadership. The WPG agrees that a whole of government and whole of society approach is required for effective international health emergency prevention, preparedness, and response. A lesson learned from the COVID-19 pandemic is the importance of engagement of governments at the highest level and a whole of government approach on the basis of equity, science, evidence, and best practice when confronted with health emergencies. On page 11, cooperation and collaboration with WHO at its center. Bullet point 25 says the WGPR observed that in meeting the challenges of a global pandemic, new levels of cooperation and collaboration were required, including within the United Nations system, among global health institutions and actors, as well as between countries. Structures like the United Nations Interagency Standing Committee, the United Nations COVID-19 Supply Chain Task Force, and related regional efforts provided essential to addressing the gaps and challenges presented by COVID-19. Given their current role in the ongoing pandemic, these structures remain vital in ending the pandemic and warrant review after this pandemic ends in order to future-proof our framework for pandemic prevention, preparedness, and response. On page 12, it talks about feasibility and sustainability of COVID-19 initiative mechanisms. In response to the COVID-19 pandemic, WHO, together with other stakeholders, has launched multiple initiatives and pilots such as ACT-A and mRNA Vaccine Technology Transfer Hub, the WHO Biomanufacturing Workforce Training Hub, the WHO BioHub System, the WHO Hub for Pandemic and Epidemic Intelligence, and the COVID-19 Technology Access Pool. The WGPR expressed the need for member states to further discuss the sustainability of these initiatives and pilots, acknowledge the potential for each of them to address long-standing structural inequities, but also emphasize the need for member state ownership and buy-in for any of them to be sustainable over the long term. I know this is a lot. It's heavy stuff. It's a lot to try to digest. I'm not a lawyer or a doctor, so it is complicated. It's a lot to try to absorb and take in. So on page 19, there's Appendix 2. In the finance section, it talks about a recommendation for countries, donors, and multilateral institutions must be prepared for the worst. Donors and multilateral institutions must ensure adequate investment in developing innovative vaccines and therapeutics, surge manufacturing capacity, broad-spectrum antivirals, and appropriate non-pharmaceutical interventions. Donors and countries commit and identify timelines for financing and development of a universal influenza vaccine, broad-spectrum antivirals, and targeted therapeutics. Donors and countries and multilateral institutions develop a multi-year plan and approach for strengthening R&D research capacity in advance of and during an epidemic.
Even a suspected threat.
Correct. On page 24, they talks about the World Bank and other international finance institutions, IFI, make R&D investments eligible for IFI financing and develop mechanisms to provide financing for global R&D for health emergencies. So they're trying to incorporate literally every facet of society to be a part of this. And notice something I read earlier, the fact that the WHO literally has its own constitution. So they, I'm pretty certain they're not going to care about the United States Constitution or our Bill of Rights. They have their own constitution. So they're not bound by our constitution. They're not bound by our rights, by our laws. They're an international organization that has all of their own rules, all of their own parameters, and and they're not bound. They're not tied to any of our legal structure or our Constitution.
This is a binding contract.
It's a legal international document. Absolutely.
They either have to
Yep.
obey or acquiesce to them, meaning reluctantly accept without protest.
Yep, absolutely. On page 32, listen to this, folks. It's the recommendation is travel measures. State parties should apply a risk-based approach to implementing additional health measures in response to public health risks and acute public health events, including those determined to constitute PHEICs or pandemics, and should conduct regular and frequent risk assessments and reevaluations of measures in place based on WHO advice. More scrutiny is needed to ensure that public health measures are necessary, proportionate, and non-discriminatory. So yes, they absolutely will not hesitate to shut things down, stop travel, whatever the WHO deems necessary. On page 35, their recommendation is collaboration, coordination, and financing. WHO and state parties should consider the benefits of developing a global convention on pandemic preparedness and response in support of IHR implementation. Such a convention may include provisions for preparedness, readiness, and response during a pandemic that are not addressed by the IHR, such as strategies for the rapid and timely sharing of pathogens, specimens, and genome sequence information for surveillance and the public health response, including for the development of effective countermeasures, provision for equitable access globally to benefit arising from sharing the above, and provisions for rapid development of the WHO team for early investigation and response, for maintaining the global supply chain, and for the prevention and management of zoonotic risks as part of the One Health approach. I would like to mention, since we're speaking of which, one of the requirements by the WHO, if the amendments to the international health regulations is passed as amended by the Biden administration, is that any country, where did I highlight that?
These are your highlights.
Where's my notes over there, Alex? Any country that has a health, that they deem has a health risk, would be required to pass along to the WHO. The targeted nation is required to send to the WHO any relevant genetic sequence data. That's a requirement if these amendments are passed as proposed by the Biden administration.
Now, why would they need genetic sequence data? Okay, that's like 4 different building blocks on how your DNA kind of interacts with things like viruses. Okay. Why would they need to know that? Why are they collecting that data? It's really weird. Maybe any future concerns or potential risks, right? To me, we need some big brains getting on that genetic sequence data and really trying to hash out why they would need that. And
what are the potential implications of that?
What type of how that could play in the future, right? With future pandemics and future treatments. Okay.
And what else could they do with that information? Once they have that information, what could they do? I've heard people say that the swab testing, they're collecting our genetic information. And putting that in some central database. I haven't been able to confirm that, but I've heard that from a few different sources. On page 37, that was passed today, one of their recommendations is WHO response to the COVID-19 pandemic, the impacts of travel restrictions and other border measures, as well as the international coordination of such measures, should be reviewed in preparation for the next pandemic. Page 39, one of the recommendations is WHO strengthened the technical capacities of the WHE program to include social scientists and gender equality experts to address the socioeconomic and gender-related implications of public health emergencies.
Wow. Which one is that? I haven't even read that one yet.
That's on page 39.
That was, wait, hold on. That's WHA 74.7.
Yeah, this is these are the documents that that passed today. All of this is passed today unanimously. There wasn't a single vote against any of this.
So is that it must be like a continuation. From
So page 44. One of their recommendations in here is to establish a new global system for surveillance based on full transparency by all parties, using state-of-the-art digital tools to connect information centers around the world and include animal and environmental health surveillance with appropriate protections of people's rights. So that's pretty pretty subjective, I would say. So what is their definition of appropriate protections of people's rights? That'll be interesting to see. And I certainly don't trust them with any of my information with surveillance.
Well, according to these amendments, the new powers will be invested to the Director General of the WHO to act on his own.
Correct.
And Tedros need only consider the potential or actual risk is occurring to allow action to be taken by the World Health Organization.
Yeah, pretty scary. That's the definition of a global dictator. On page 46, it talks about establishing strong financing and regional capacities for manufacturing, regulation, and procurement of tools for equitable and effective access to vaccines, therapeutics, diagnostics, and essential supplies, and for clinical trials, based on plans jointly developed by the WHO, regional institutions, and the private sector, with commitments and processes for technology transfer, including to and among larger manufacturing hubs in each region, supported financially by international financial institutions and regional development banks and other public and private financing organizations. Sorry, folks, there's a lot of information here. I did not get through all of this information today, but those are it gives you an idea of some of this. Document A7517 that passed unanimously today, strengthening WHO preparedness for and response to health emergencies. Moving along, I'm going to talk a little bit about the United States. On the WHO website, they had a link for all of the contributors, some of their primary contributors. I talked briefly about it earlier in this segment with Alex. But for decades, the United States has been a leading donor. In 2021 and to 2020 to 2021 fiscal year, the United States was the third largest donor with more than $700 million in contributions. Of that sum, 65% was voluntary funding provided on top of the country's annual membership dues. So the assessed annual membership dues were $243 million, and they had $461 million in voluntary contributions. It says that the WHO has on their website, they are grateful to the many government institutions that contribute funding and expertise, including the United States Department of State, the United States Department of Health and Human Services, the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, the National Institute of Health, the Environmental Protection Agency, the Food and Drug Administration, PEPFAR, and USAID. All are contributors to this money. So, supported by the United States, the WHO works to strengthen health systems for refugees internally.
Real quick, to anybody that doesn't know, this is Simon. He's got my permission to be on my platform. All right. Good guy. We've been doing research all day, vetting these articles and doing our best to catch up on any knowledge that we might need to catch up on and sharpen our tools with, because knowledge is power. And we have been empowering ourselves with the knowledge, and trying to empower the people here. Okay. Go ahead, Simon.
Yep. Thanks, Alex. Much appreciated. And thanks to all of you, your support. We were able to get a hotel last night and tonight, and keep fighting the fight, doing our research, doing what we can here in Washington, D.C. while we're here. So thanks, Alex. Thanks to all of you for helping to provide that funding also.
Speaking of funding, back to who's funding the WHO and
yes,
and all that stuff.
So, the United States, supported by the United States, the WHO worked to strengthen health systems for refugees, internally displaced people, and others in need. The USAID's Bureau for Humanitarian Assistance and the State Department's Bureau for Population, Refugees, and Migration are among these partners. Between 2020 and 2021, the USAID provided $60 million in supplemental funding to over 40 countries for the COVID-19 response, including work to prevent and treat infections, protect and train health workers, disseminate public health information, and address economic and social efforts of the pandemic. When health systems in Iraq, Libya, Nigeria, Sudan, Yemen, and elsewhere have been ruptured by conflict or stretched to their limits by a disease outbreak, the BHA's funding has bolstered WHO's work to strengthen healthcare capacities and provide urgent medicines and supplies. So, in all due respect and fairness, obviously some of this money is going for good causes. It is being helpful. It is serving a purpose. But there's always a fine line, and between good and bad, what's helpful and what's a huge risk to public freedoms and public safety and privacy laws, privacy rights in this country and abroad. So, I already talked about financing.
The world's citizens need to be standing up, not just the United States. Okay, we're talking about contacting attorney generals, governors, congressmen and women. What's the other ones? Sheriffs.
Correct.
Go ahead.
One of the WHO deputy director, the number 2 person in charge at the WHO. Her name is Mary Lou Valdez. She is the WHO deputy director. She took her position, I believe, in February of 2020. I have an address. She has an office address at 525 23rd Street Northwest, Washington, D.C., 20037. Lois Pace is the Assistant Secretary of Global Affairs for the Department of Human and Health Services. I highly recommend everybody contact this lady. Their phone number over there is 207-287-3707. She is on Twitter as well. Her Twitter is @HHS_ASPR. SGA. I don't know if you can see this. Let's see. That is her Twitter, her name in Twitter. Also, this is literally a national security threat. These people have no consideration for our Constitution, for our rights. I'm going to encourage everybody to call the Pentagon and the Department of Defense.
Department of Defense, yeah.
The Pentagon, their direct line, their phone number is 703-697-1001. The Department of Defense is 703-571-3343. Like Alex said, legislators, congressmen, your attorney generals, governors, like school board members.
Look, I'm gonna keep it 100 with y'all. Okay, this is what we're doing. All right, y'all have been hearing me talk about attorneys and lawyers and paralegals for a while now. Okay, we already have attorneys. It's called an attorney general. We got to rally the states. We want to try to get the attorney generals to rally other attorney generals, to rally their governors, the health committees, the House reps, the senators, the federal congressional districts. It needs to happen now. Like this stuff is going on right now. All right.
Absolutely.
Now contact all these people. It makes no sense for us to go up there and protest if we haven't gone up the chain of legislation, contacting these people in writing, documenting it.
Request a callback.
But even making sure it's documented that you've tried to go up the chain. It doesn't make sense to go up there and protest without doing so. And there's been so much distraction and so much smokescreen and so much sleight of hand that we've got distracted from the message. And that's why I say it's so convenient of the timing of these convoys splitting up, the monkeypox, or whatever it is, the Will Smith and Chris Rock, the abortion leak, I mean, the list goes on. I was starting to rant. He's like,
go ahead.
Go ahead, brother.
Because I gotta grab my phone. There's one more issue I want to address.
All right, so that's what it is. All right, we're working on contacting attorney generals. We have the attorneys. They already work for us. Seems reasonable, doesn't it? I'd say so. So that's what I'm working on. It's gonna take. I mean, look. At this point, I'm not too sure we can stop it. I'm really not. These amendments were proposed by Biden himself, right? He's not going to be out of office by the time frame of when the 6 month is up for us to change our yes into a no, if it's a yes. But I'll tell you what, it's not looking good at all. It's bad, very, very bad. The land of the free is not going to be a very free very longer. Like they can just create a state of emergency with a foreign power. You got one last thing you want to add?
Yes, I do. So I watched the live stream today of the actual live stream in the room where they were deliberating and going through the. So on the agenda today, agenda item 16.2, they is when they were supposed to be talking about this A75/18, the amendments, the Biden amendments to the international health regulations. I skimmed through the entire live stream, and they did not address this from what I could find.
Was there anything
today
else
on the agenda?
Was there anything else on the agenda today, on the schedule today that did not?
They did. Covered? So this the document that passed unanimously was the document A75/17. It is on the agenda right before this the international health regulations. So this was the agenda item to review this document right before the proposed amendments to the international health regulations. And this one passed unanimously. It was a unanimous vote. There was no mention of the A75/18. So they had two sessions today. They had a morning session, and then they had an evening session. And the there was no mention of it. So I don't know what happened. I don't know if it got and they made it was extremely difficult to even find the information. Like it's buried in like layers of stuff. And it's not easy to find on their website.
60-page.
I'm gonna post
reports
in the notes the link that I found to the live stream, so that if anybody wants to go research anymore or look at the live stream, you can do that. It was committee. Let's see. I took a picture of it.
Send it to me. Text it to me.
So I will. I'm gonna have Alex post
link?
this. Yeah, I'm gonna have Alex post this in the link. But when you go to the agenda website,
Pause. Send me the link right now. I'm gonna drop it in my chat, and then they can look at it while you're reading it. Okay.
yeah, let's see if I can do that.
Oh, that was just a screenshot. I see. Oh, there you go. Copy link.
Okay, I'm gonna send this to you, Alex, right now.
Perfect.
So that is the link, and then once you go to this link, you scroll down just a little bit, and then there's a section that says "Watch the live World Health Assembly sessions." You can go down to right below the video is some tabs you can click on. You can click on the live tab, the plenary tab, Committee A or Committee B. Committee A, this agenda item was on committee. It was scheduled for Committee A, and then it was the third Committee A session, and then that session was split up into two different times. There was a morning session. They took a break, and then they came back and they did like an evening session. So the Committee A, under the Committee A tab, the third Committee A session, that was the morning session. And then if you click on the live tab, it gives you the evening session. That was a continuation. And each, there was like 80 different countries that spoke, and they were given like 3 minutes to speak. And then at the end of it, they had a unanimous vote. They had a vote. The president that was leading the meeting just asked if there was any opposition. He scanned the room, that he didn't see any opposition. So it literally was like 30 seconds. And he's like, without opposition, it passed unanimously. Two hammers slams on the docket, and it's done. It's moved on. So we need to try to figure out what happened to this A75/18. If it's going to be on the schedule for tomorrow morning, if it got pulled out of the committee for review at a different session, that's something we need to try to keep a close eye on and try to figure out what's happening with this document A75/18.
So he was talking about these two sections right here. He was talking about Committee A and Committee B. And then where's the live section? Probably just these videos, right? Yeah.
Yep. So let's see.
Because it's different from mobile on this.
Well, yeah. None of them are live currently, so I guess it's
okay.
The live tab is gone. So tomorrow they'll put up a live tab
so
probably
they
again.
probably just have the hard copies up here right now. Let's see.
So the second one there is the
there?
one is the first morning session. Also keep in mind here, let me look it up. Switzerland is I think like 12 or 13 hours ahead of us. So they're going to be starting the morning session, during the night here. And so that's something else important to just kind of keep in mind, I guess, the time change. Let me look it up.
Okay, while he's looking that up, I'm going to show y'all the WHO website on where you can find everything that they're talking about. You can find all the items right here if you just scroll down. Right, you'll have to download each one of these. The one he's talking about that we need to find out what's going on with it is A75/18. This one right here, a lot of you already know that, but if you click on that, you can pull up the whole thing there. I mean, look at this. I don't know how many pages this is, but I mean, it's massive.
It's a lot. I have it printed off, actually. I should go through that with your audience. Maybe tomorrow we can do that.
If we have the time. We're going to DC
So right
tomorrow.
now it's 4:23 a.m. in Switzerland.
Okay, so if you guys didn't catch that, I clicked on this orange part right here. All right, and actually, real quick before we go any further, I'm going to put that one in my chat as well. That way you guys can follow along.
So Switzerland it looks like 8 hours ahead of us. It's not as far as I had thought it might be. Yeah, it looks like they are 8 hours ahead of us, so they now have 4:24 a.m. on Wednesday morning.
So literally now is the time to act. There is, like, they're going over this right now, and it's like Simon said, they're passing it unanimously. I'm kind of prepping for doomsday, y'all.
Yeah, all of this, every article that we've read literally says that if it goes to a vote, it's guaranteed to pass. It has unanimous support or overwhelming support for this A75-18, these amendments to pass. So the only really the best hope that we have is to prevent it from coming to a vote. Thankfully, it doesn't. I couldn't find any evidence that it passed, that it went to a vote today.
Although, and again, hold on real quick, Simon.
It's not easy to find this stuff.
If y'all want to find the schedule, click on these right here. Okay, so go ahead finish your thought, Simon. Sorry, I'm just directing them. Now we're going to scroll down. We're going to find what Tuesday was Tuesday it was 16.2. So you couldn't find 16.2 or all of this stuff is a concern, y'all. We can't let them have any of this power. Like it's a one world order. It's one world government.
Can I pull up the W.H. Let me pull up a website and show them some things I found today.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of the websites. I mean, here's probably the screen you've been navigating.
Oh yeah,
the most
yeah. Let me show you a couple things on here.
Mm-hmm.
So, the newsroom has they have an update here from yesterday. So it was a daily update. That's how I found out that what they did today. They here it talks about that their election, the unanimous re-election, I guess, of the W.H.O. director. And then this is the agreement the financial agreement that they came across today. Somewhere there was a bunch more information. Let's see.
Statements, maybe?
I don't think it was statements. News releases. I think that's basically where we are. No, somewhere there was a bunch of information about contributors that you can check out some of what I was looking at.
Investment case?
Let's see. Funding.
Click on investment case real quick.
Yeah, I have to try to remember where I found all this stuff. Oh no, it was there. I saw it on the bottom right corner of that last
Let's
page.
see what this is real quick. Holy moly, this thing's running slow. That means this thing is huge. Okay, I'm gonna go through that later. All right, what was you talking
go
about?
back. So right down here on the right, the bottom right is the assessed contributions. So, like every nation that's part of the United Nations, literally is assessed a bill every year by the WHO. So you can click on any one of these, you can download them, and each country has an invoice basically that you can go to all over here, and it'll just take you. It's to all these documents of every nation in the world and kind of what their individual statement is, and it gives you a 3-year statement, like an accounting statement for any of these countries. I found the United States. I found China's on here, Australia. I guess we'll just pick one that looks interesting. Costa Rica. We'll download it and look at it just to give you an idea. So in 2020, it gives you 3 years, 2020, 21, and 22. In 2020, it was $148 million. I believe these are millions of dollars, I believe.
Well, I mean,
I don't see where it says.
Wow, that would be a lot of millions of dollars.
Yeah, US dollars. Or no, thousand. Maybe it's thousands of dollars. I'm not sure. It doesn't say. So I guess I would assume it's thousands, I guess.
Costa Rica is not a very big economic powerhouse. Where are we at here?
So
let's look at Iraq.
More. Yeah, Iraq. We could do that.
I guess we're gonna download it.
So $308,000 in 2020 every year. It looks like it's pretty much the same every year. But
well, we know what the United States is donated. So where are we at?
Oh, see, and it's confusing. It's not. They're not in alphabetical order. It's totally super random. So the United States is like hidden way down somewhere. Yeah, maybe you can type in U there or something and go down to the United States. I printed it off here somewhere.
Okay, so it's got each fiscal year. Okay, then yeah, it's probably thousands. Cause wait. Oh, hold on. What year? Wait, where's that little paper at you had with all the?
Yeah, I have it. I printed it off actually. If I can find my notes here.
I thought we were in like the 600 million range. Was that like a multi-year assessment? Hold on.
I had a whole bunch of papers.
Because you found that graph on the World Health Organization website.
Correct.
Yeah, so he sent me a graph with this information on it. He just wrote it down instead of going to print it off.
I have it printed somewhere. There's a whole pack of papers about the United States that I had sitting right there, I thought.
No, I haven't. It's probably in your stack of stuff right here, dude.
Papers are. Oh, it might be in the back here. Yeah, right here it is. United States. So this is the United States spreadsheet right there.
Right. That's what we're looking at right now. But that text you sent me earlier, I'm gonna just show you. Wait, did you send me a text of it? Yeah, you did. Okay, so this was 20. Maybe this is So this, you got this same graph from the WHO, right?
Yeah, that's on the WHO website.
Where is this graph located at?
Let me see if I can find it. Okay, go back. I think I can find it. Yeah, it's right here. So, here let me do it. So, assess contributions, and if you go down to our contributors, click on that, and then it has a bunch of countries that have given additional contributions. And notice on this list of our contributors, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation is not even listed here. Isn't that interesting? And they're like their number 2 contributor. And also, it's interesting, I think, for some reason, some of these countries you can't click on them, like Canada. You can't click on it and look at any of the details from Canada. Most of these countries you can. Rockefeller Foundation's on here. United States down here at the very bottom. Click on us. And right here is the chart that Germany was $1.268 billion in 2020 to 2021. Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation gave $751 million. We gave $693 million.
Okay, so let's back up. Let's go back to the assessed contributions. Go back down to the page. Do we have this up already? No, that's a different country. Just exit that out. Is this the right section? How do we get to those?
Which one?
When we were downloading
these guys?
Yeah.
Yeah, the statements. That's under assessed contributions, and it's down.
Oh, okay.
Right there.
Perfect.
And then if you go to all, the little all button there is
right,
where you
we were
give
trying to search, right? I searched it earlier. Where'd that search bar go?
You have to go into all.
Okay.
And then you get that country search.
So let's look at 2020. This is the first year of the. Whoa, this is a little bit different of a graph. So
remember, these are just assessed contributions, which is only a small portion of the total contributions that the United States, because most of what the United States contributes is considered voluntary contributions. So they give way above and beyond the assessed contributions every year.
What?
Yeah, these are just assessed.
I know, but this last one was telling me it was like almost 100 million by itself. Like, oh wait, what? So this is a combination of years. I guess I must have skipped past that.
So $56 million a year, roughly, to 59 million.
See how hard they make it to find information, y'all? We have spent all day trying to fact check this. It's draining. You know, we're actually looking, because Simon and I, we do really good on the street. We need people at home to be helping us find this information. That's why I'm dropping these links in the chat. Y'all need to save these, favorite these websites, and stay on top of this. And please help us out with, I'm talking like mods. We're looking for a team. You can email me at raidglasgow@gmail.com if you would like to help canvas for information. Okay, support freedom. I see your message, bro. Wait, what was I gonna do in here? What was I gonna do next? Why did I bring this up? I was reading a comment. I got distracted. Squirrel.
You were gonna post a link to something. I'm not sure. You were saying we need moderators. We need people to.
Oh, my email. If you're interested in helping research this stuff, I'm dropping my email in my chat right now. Okay.
So, anyways, yep. So in the morning, we can give. We're gonna be tomorrow. We really need to hit the streets. We need to get out. We need to get into DC tomorrow for sure, and start talking to people and keep spreading the message and get the pressure. We have to stop this somehow. Get people informed and on board to help, just made aware of what's happening over in Geneva.
Yeah, and part of that is contacting your governors, your state attorneys, your state reps, right? Your House reps, your Senate reps, your congressional district reps. Okay, everybody needs to be standing up and getting up off their asses and stopping this hostile takeover from the World Health Organization. Okay, they're getting the ability to just at a whim create a issue, whether or not it aligns with facts or Mr. What is his name? Tedros. Yep. His own opinions. So we're working on a blast to them, but in the meantime, I suggest everybody go and look up your congressmen and women in your congressional district.
Yeah, post that link into the notes as well, to how to look up their representatives.
I've got that link on my clipboard. Just give me a second. I need to send it to Lori as well. It's this one. Yes, it is this one. Okay. But yes, we've been talking about attorneys and lawyers, and we already have them. It's attorney generals. So we're going to be working on setting up something to make it easy for everyone at home to contact as many of these elected officials as possible, including sheriffs and, like Simon mentioned, the Defense Department. I think would be a good one to start. Look, they're getting ready to hand over our entire sovereignty to the WHO. All right. I mean, you could apply health to almost anything, and if you add the World Economic Forum on top of it, finances and health, game over.
It is. Yep. It's literally going to be the end of freedom as we know it. Like we were talking here a little bit this evening amongst ourselves, and our elected officials literally won't even matter anymore if this becomes the law of the land. Our Constitution doesn't matter if this becomes the law of the land. These people don't.
Voting won't matter.
They don't care. They're not governed by the same laws that we're governed by.
Yes, because look right here, Tedros need only consider that a potential or actual risk is occurring to allow action to be taken by the WHO or any future Director General. Okay, the WHO thinks health is a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, and not merely the absence of disease or infirmity. And also, health is. This is what they believe. Health is race, religion, political belief, economic, or social condition. WHO's new powers will be invested in the Director General of the WHO to act on his own. Tedros need only consider that a potential or actual risk is occurring to allow action to be taken by the World Health Organization or any future Director General. The WHO is not a global powerhouse by itself. The Chinese Communist Party and Xi Jinping have enormous influence over the WHO. We were talking about how Trump filed to withdraw from the WHO, right? It would have been in early July. And as soon as he did that, Bill Gates announced that he was going to be increasing his contribution from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation up to $250 million. All right. After the Chinese Communist Party, Bill Gates probably has the most influence over the WHO. I don't know. Judging by the graph we've seen, maybe Germany has a.
Hey, let's see if we can find China's contribution.
Oh, on that website.
On the WHO website. I meant to do that earlier, and then I forgot to follow up on that.
Because in the article they were talking about their ability to like hide information and what type of influence that would play into. Let's go to this one.
Because according to there's a chart of the top WHO contributors, and it has starting at the top, Germany was at the top. The Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation was next. Then the United States, then the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, then the European Commission, then the GAVI Alliance, followed by Japan, Canada, Rotary International, COVID-19 Solidarity Response Fund, and then China comes in next, followed by Norway, Saudi Arabia, and on down the list. But yeah, this chart that I found on the WHO shows China at $168 million. Right there's China, and this was off of their website as well.
And that's only.
So I don't know. There's some conflicting information because this shows China at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, number 11 on the top 20 contributors. But this was the fiscal year 2020 to 2021. So they may have increased their contribution for the current year, 2021 to 2022.
It's interesting they don't have a tab for all the countries. Oh, hold on, what's that?
Well, no, those are contributors, so those are not the assessed contributions. Those are just like additional donors.
I see. Is there a search button? Okay. Anyways. All right, back to the jazz here. Okay. So, the targeted nation is also required to send the WHO any relevant genetic sequence data. We mentioned that earlier. The definition of sequencing DNA means determining the order of the four chemical building blocks called bases that make up the DNA molecule. The sequence tells scientists the kind of genetic information that is carried in a particular DNA segment. So, I've got a bunch of more notes that I haven't typed in here yet, but I'm working on something big. And when we go down into DC, as far as I'm concerned, we are Americans. We're not any in particular organization. The organization is America.
We the people.
We the people.
Are pissed off.
We're pissed off. Enough is enough.
It is. It's time. They have literally, I said this before, just before I knew anything about this, what's happening with the WHO, just based on what we've seen with the COVID response. The governments around the globe have literally declared war on freedom. They've declared war on human rights.
This is an attack.
They've declared it's an attack. It's a direct, all-out assault attack on freedom and human rights, our Constitution,
information,
our Bill of Rights,
economies.
Yep, information. It's been an
religions.
Information warfare. It's been a biological warfare. It's been a psychological warfare.
Chemical warfare.
Yeah, chemical. It's a full-out assault on humanity.
The biological would have been COVID-19 itself. The chemical warfare would have been the poison or the vaccine or the cobra venom, however you want to look at it.
Yep. And like remdesivir, I mean some of the medicines. I mean it's astounding how many, like they're using all of their resources to literally just attack humanity.
And by the end of the week, this is going to be finalized, to my understanding. Who knows, it might get pushed out a little bit. They might not have all the time to read everything, but they better take their time on it because this is serious. And judging by what I saw, I mean, nobody's rising in opposition to this in the Geneva, Switzerland assembly.
Yeah, very scary, very dangerous.
And none of our
So-
senators are talking about this. None of our congressmen or women are talking about this. Like, this should be priority number one. It's literally, like Simon said, an assault on our democracy, assault on our souls, our minds, our bodies. It's time to rise up to the occasion of treason and tyranny and a one world order. That's what's happening.
Yep.
World Health Organization.
Yeah.
World
Did you,
Economic Forum.
Yeah, let me just read what Biden said specifically out of his mouth.
And the reason why we know that I very strongly believe that it's not going to get shut down is because I think that America and Biden are going to push for this hard. You know why? Because he's not threatening to withhold $1 billion in funding from anybody. Think about that.
Yeah, well, Biden said, he told the Business Roundtable, which is the presidents and CEOs of the wealthiest 200 corporations in America, that they must lead the growing new world order. And I quote, "And now is a time when things are shifting. There's going to be a new world order out there, and we've got to lead it. And we've got to unite the rest of the free world in doing it." And then John Kerry announced that when Americans elected Biden, they voted for the Great Reset, whether they knew it or not. End quote.
End quote. And end stream. Y'all get ready for the blast to attorney generals and governors and congressmen and women. I got to get working on some of that. And
Yep, I'm tired. It's been a crazy day. Even though we didn't get out on the streets today, it's been
very productive.
Just a mentally exhausting day. So,
but it's productive.
It was productive.
No, like now we have a really, really, really like we had 2 Biden workers for Biden come up to us yesterday and try to they literally hunted us down to try to tell us that the information we were spreading was wrong. We've got the information from the WHO website ourselves.
Yeah.
We've provided you the links. Have we made it an error here and there? It's possible, but I doubt it. Help keep us updated. We're looking for a team to help us research, and while we have our boots on the ground. And I really feel like awakening Washington D.C. and the general public to, if anything happens, at least they'll have a better idea of what's going on when and if it happens. You understand?
Yep. And if anybody can contribute for hotels the next few nights.
Oh yes. Oh my gosh.
That would be awesome. We're here tonight. We got it probably a couple, 2 or 3 more nights in hotels.
I got a text from my look. I'm gonna show y'all actually. Can I block out his name? Yeah. How about that? Block out his name maybe. I'm gonna show you. Wait. This is really awkward. How about that? Oh wait. Can y'all see that? Wait. Oh. Wait.
Careful, don't show his name.
Yeah. Yeah, so basically, I don't want to go back to work. He understands. He's been waiting for me for 3 months. He is the CEO of that company in wind. And I'm putting off $100,000 a year to come out here and fight for y'all and deal with this crap. Make it worth my time, and I'll try to make it worth yours. Get ready for the Attorney General blast. I like the term outreach for this better. The outreach to attorney generals, governors, congressmen, and women. I posted the link to find. I'm gonna do that one more time in my chat before I leave. I'm gonna put in donations if y'all could contribute for hotel rooms, etc. while we're out here. And I'm also gonna put that link to find your Congress your Congress members, right? There's multiple congressional districts in your state, so make sure you are contacting the one that represents you. And if you ever consider coming down to Washington, D.C., or to protest in a court of law, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, if anything happens, right? Like, you have to have this so documented that you went up the chain of action and you did everything you could to lead up to them not representing our voices correctly, right? A closed mouth don't get fed. And if you're not opening your mouth and expressing your concerns to your elected officials, then it just doesn't make any sense, right? So we have to start doing that. And if you want to start doing that tomorrow, I recommend it. Don't wait for me to make it easy for you to do it. Do it tomorrow morning. Wake your ass up. Get on your freaking phone, call your attorney generals, call your governors, call your reps, all right? Call the Defense Department, call your sheriffs. Your sheriffs are they have constitutional authority being that they are elected into office, okay? Call them.
Oh, that reminds me.
Call your churches. Tell your churches to stand up, all right? It's ridiculous what's going on. Simon, you any last words?
Yeah, you just reminded me.
What?
There was somebody sent me a link about a sheriff that posted something that he would refuse to comply with any WHO regulations.
That actually reminds me. You reminded me. Have you found it yet?
No. Let me see if I can find it.
Okay, well, he's finding that. Somebody raised a good question with me today, or brought up something interesting to me today. They told me that there was a D.C. police officer that was ready to quit his job if we parked in D.C. and join us. That sounds great, but that's the wrong move. He needed to not quit his job. He needed to stand his ground. Do not relinquish your authority. If you are a police officer, or you are military, or you have any type of legal pull or authority vested to you by the Constitution, you need to keep it and you need to fight where you are. All right? Don't quit your jobs ever. All the Ottawa cops, they were quitting their jobs. That's one of the biggest critiques I have of them. Okay, is if they would have stood and fight and made them fire them, right? Or maybe even held those other crooked cops accountable for not adhering and valuing the rights of the people that they were representing and defending. Like this Capitol building police, all three of them, I asked them if they took an oath of office to defend against foreign and domestic threats. They told me they didn't want to have a political conversation. They didn't even want to answer it. It's on my stream. You can see it. They're not willing to uphold their oath. Right? So these other people that are willing to uphold their oath need to hold the other ones accountable because they have powers vested to them by the Constitution. And whatever Constitution we have left for the next 6 months and, 5 days, y'all police officers need to get up off your asses and help us out. Now.
Yep, the time is clicking. It's ticking.
Have a good night.